Narendra Modi holding a Diwali tea party for NDA MPs, telling them to think big, think far and above politics, keeping the focus purely on the government's big schemes. Top ministers briefed MPs. The Prime Minister also asked MPs to project the pro-poor image of the government. However, there was no grand reunion with the Sena at the tea party. Though all 21 Shiv Sena MPs, including Central Minister Anand Gite, were in attendance, is the BJP continuing to play tough with its erstwhile ally? Well, joining us for both those big political stories, Rahul Srivastav from the national capital, Saurabh Gupta from Mumbai. Rahul, to you first, the big takeaways from that tea party.
Ankita, one obvious one, that the Shiv Sena remains committed to the NDA. Its members of parliament attended the Prime Minister's Diwali Milan, as it is being called, which is a sign that somewhere both Shiv Sena and the BJP are engaged with each other. And in the coming days, there is a possibility they will be looking at the prospect of coming together and forming a government after the pre-election breakup. And Saurabh may be able to tell you more about it, because what we hear in Delhi, that the two leaders, Mr. Rajnath Singh and JP Nadda, who were supposed to visit Mumbai on Monday to hold a meeting of the legislators, might be that they may be travelling on Tuesday. That's what Delhi is saying as far as Shiv Sena element is concerned. Beyond that, this meeting of nearly 400 odd Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, NDA MPs can be called a usual meeting. Usual, why do I say it? That the Prime Minister told them to think pro-poor, talk about the policies of the government, among others. There were briefings by cabinet senior ministers, Arun Jaitley talking about Jan Dhan and the coal and the deregulation of petroleum. Also the Labour Minister talking about the labour reforms. Also the Rural Development Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, talking about the MPs adopting villages scheme of the central government. But then there was one element which needs to be focused on. Over the last few days, if you take the decisions of the NDA government, diesel has been deregulated, a gas pricing formula announced, which means gas price has been increased, and also certain reform measures have been announced. These are pro-development, pro-reform measures, and somewhere there might be a criticism that the government has been thinking about the corporate sectors and the industrial sector and how to speed up the economy. And that is why in this meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered a course correction. It's an active government, and the Prime Minister is very conscious that there should be no negative image carried as far as the public is concerned. That's why Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked to the MPs that they should carry out the message of the pro-poor policies of this government down till the last denominator. His effort was that if such a Bharat Abhiyan is there by the government, it should be carried to the last denominator, because they are the real beneficiaries of it. If there has been reform in labour, it should be carried down. Jan Dhan Yojana is for the Aam Aadmi, it should be carried down. One last word, he also mentioned that there was a government before us which thought that pro-poor policies was the prime agenda of that government, and that's what this government should change.
All right, interesting points there, Rahul. Thanks for joining us. Saurabh, of course, anyone who was watching this particular meeting in the national capital to see signs of a grand reunion between the BJP and the Shiv Sena was going to be disappointed. But there does seem to have been some forward movement there as well. What is it that you're learning?
Well, there are talks on various portfolios are being discussed, but a tie-up even at the state level at the moment is still far away, because the Shiv Sena and the BJP haven't been able to arrive at a consensus on what the sharing arrangement is going to be. Now today, Vinod Taude, senior leader of the BJP, did announce that Mr. JP Nadda, Mr. Rajnath Singh, like Rahul mentioned, would be coming here on Tuesday to actually conduct and observe the legislative party meeting of the BJP, which will elect its leader. And then, of course, the leader usually becomes the chief minister of the state. But when he spoke about the Sena, he said the Sena has to first come together mentally, and then we can discuss portfolio sharing. But the Sena maintains that there has to be a respectable offer made to the Sena for it to actually consider what it can do. So clearly there is hard negotiations going on both sides. A tie-up is still far away, but both sides also maintaining that they remain committed to an alliance, and that the talks between both sides are on, not just here in Maharashtra, but also in Delhi.
All right, Saurabh, Rahul, thanks very much indeed. So perhaps no real olive branch there, which was perhaps being anticipated. The BJP continuing to play hardball with their erstwhile allies. But of course, also sending out that message to MPs to emphasize the government's pro-poor policies. Joining us for both those big political stories tonight from the Congress, we have spokesperson Rashmikant from the Shiv Sena joining us this evening, Uttam Agarwal, Lalita Kumaramangalam from the BJP, and senior editor and political analyst Siddharth Varadarajan also with us. Siddharth, let me begin with you. Your big takeaways from the Prime Minister's meeting with NDA MPs. It came 5 months after the government came to power, but the focus really, particularly coming as it did after major decisions which might be seen as pro-reform, whether it's diesel deregulation or for that matter, the announcement on gas prices, the sudden pro-poor pitch that we heard.
Well, this tension between what the Prime Minister, what Narendra Modi during the campaign promised the electorate in terms of jobs, a house for everybody, sanitation, healthcare, education, on the one hand, and the promises that he had obviously made to the corporate sector, or at least expectations of the corporate sector. This has been, this tension has run through the initial months of the government, as the government has tried to take decisions to satisfy all the people to whom it made promises. They're all stakeholders in its victory. And, the fact is that in the earlier months, it was the business community that was highly disappointed by the failure of what they felt were absence of big bang reforms. You saw a great disappointment in the pink press or TV, the sort of corporate honchos saying that, well, this government isn't moving as fast as we think. And I think Mr. Modi's focus was on trying to create a pro-poor image by making promises about sanitation, housing, etc. What we've seen in the last 10 days is a certain shifting of gears. And I think it's important to note Mr. Modi's keenness to ensure that the message remain focused on pro-poor, because obviously for him, it's the electorate that matters. It's the majority of poor people in this country to whom he made promises. They need to feel as if this is their government, even if for practical purposes, a lot of the decisions that the government is going to take now in the run-up to the budget and after will obviously be to satisfy the appetite of corporate India. So I think this tightrope walk that the Modi government is doing is something that will confuse MPs perhaps to some extent. And I think that's why the Prime Minister was very keen to send this message. And I think it's important for the comparison he made or the point he made about, I think Rahul was saying that the previous government was also known for its poor, or it took pride in portraying itself as poor, and that's an image that this government also wants to emulate. I think that's quite a significant statement of intent from the Prime Minister.
A significant statement of intent. Lalita Kumaramangalam, has this been the Prime Minister's attempt really to get all MPs on the same page, as it were, so as to communicate this government's policies effectively, the message that he was sending out today? Do you believe that, in a sense, this is perhaps the government not making the mistakes of the previous administration, where a pro-poor policy was clearly very much a part of the agenda, but perhaps not communicated as much?
Ankita, I think, this is a new administration, and perhaps we should stop continuously comparing the two administrations together. The fact is that every government in India has to be pro-poor, because the majority of people in this country are still poor, and the promises Mr. Modi made during the campaign for the Lok Sabha elections were very clear. He said that we would be able to help the aspirational generation of India achieve their aspirations, which means that we would be working towards raising the levels of, changing the lifestyles and raising the levels of the lifestyles of especially the poor in this country. In the first 3 or 4 months of the new administration, as has been pointed out, it was felt that Mr. Modi was not addressing the concerns of the business community. Now that we are trying to address the needs or the aspirations or the demands of both the poor and the business community, I think it must be understood that you can't keep everybody happy all the time. But the fact is that whether it's Jan Dhan, whether it is the sanitation movement and Swachh Bharat, whether it is several other things, including the drop in petrol prices. Diesel has been deregulated, yes, but petrol prices have also dropped. Let's not forget that. The emphasis is on seeing that the average lifestyle of the Indian is vastly improved in the next 5 years. and therefore it is a poor governance.
Okay, so
whether the Congress is able to communicate what they say they did for the people to the people is a different question altogether.
Different question altogether, Rashmikant. Would you agree, or do you think the government is capitalizing now on what the UPA failed to do?
I think, let me give you a small analogy that there was an iconic tennis player called Chris Evert. And for 5 years at the age of from 16, she was called 16. She was referred to as the 16-year-old player Chris Evert. So it's now almost 6 months post 5 months. So it's not 3 or 4 months time. The clock is ticking. And Mr. Narendra Modi had asked only for 60 months to show his performance and to come out with a report card. Now the policies that this government has revealed till now, as the journalist from NDTV had said, and he started with labour laws. And it seems that, and the government is on record saying that there will be change in the labour laws, which means you are going to talk about hire and fire. How is it a pro-poor policy when you talk about hire and fire? You can't go to the poor and say that I am doing something for you and then say you are hired today and fired tomorrow. You cannot do that, because people will see through it. People will know that I have a job today, but they don't know whether they have a job tomorrow or not. So ultimately, to just events is not going to work. Ultimately, people are going to see the work on the ground. So when you are talking about the development, these 4 or 5 issues that he raised, diesel deregulation, in fact, petrol was there, petrol deregulation was there during the Congress time. This is a process of continuation. But the fact that the crude prices have come down to 80 from 148 at its peak in UPS time, the diesel should have come down much, much more. The fact that the oil companies are making much more money today at the cost of the consumer is a cause of great concern. So to just merely go and tell the poor that we are pro-poor is not enough. What is going to be enough is what people see on the ground. Are the prices coming down? Am I getting a better lifestyle? But what this government has shown till now is just a series of announcements and dismantling of institutions instead of doing real solid hard work. And you are 6 months down, almost 6 months down the road, post 5 months. So that is a very critical thing. And I think one more take, I think some people have missed, is that the Tea Party sends a very important signal that the Prime Minister, I think, would want to. That there's perception that after the BJP won a victory, they won the numbers on their own without needing the allies. They are actually mistreating their allies. It happened with the Haryana Janhit Congress.
I think that's a fair point you're making. Post these elections in particular in Haryana and Maharashtra, Lalitha Kumaramangalam, the timing of this Tea Party, was there a sense that, it was time to reach out to NDA allies given the kind of messaging there had been during these elections?
I think that's wishful thinking on the part of the Congress. The fact is that, Ankita, we have never sidelined our allies. All our allies who stood by us before and during the Lok Sabha elections are part of our government in the centre. Obviously, since we have a majority, one should understand that there was no real reason for us to say you must be part of our government, but we did say that. And because they are our allies, they are part of an NDA government. We have a simple majority in the Lok Sabha. If, as the Congress people claim, we are that arrogant, it wouldn't have been very difficult for us to say only the BJP will form the government. We didn't. Now, I'm not trying to push that as us being extremely kind, etc. to allies. The fact is that they stood by us. So we also jolly well stood by them, which is what we've done. Now, on the part of saying that it's been 6 months, people are asking questions and demand answers. Of course, people will demand answers and ask questions. This is a democracy and they voted for us. But after being in power for over some 50 odd, 55, 60 years, it's a little, I think, strange to me. It sounds strange that you say that the BJP is answerable within 6 months. The truth is that being a democracy, we are answerable from day one. But I wish the Congress had also followed that in their days of power. But let's leave that aside. I think that's going down a totally different, wrong road altogether.
Okay,
we must remember that the Parliament session is coming up, and for Parliament to run smoothly, the Prime Minister has also seen fit to reach out to our allies. What's wrong in that? Isn't that a good thing for him to do? If he hadn't done it, he would have been found wanting. Since he's done it, People are trying to find
I'm
holes
not criticizing,
holes
making an
in what he's
observation,
done.
Lalitaji.
I
was not
think it's
criticizing
you know, win some,
please,
lose
please
some
do
here,
not go on the
and the
defensive.
Congress must
I was not
understand.
criticizing you at all. I was
I'm
only
not
making
being
an
defensive.
observation.
I am not being defensive, and please stop interrupting. Let me finish. I didn't talk at all when you were talking. Let me finish, then you can say whatever you want. I'm not going to interrupt.
Okay, go ahead quickly.
The fact is that the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, has reached out to the NDA allies. He's done exactly what every Prime Minister should do. Every Prime Minister, regardless of which party they may belong to.
But Lalita Kumaramangalam, as far as government formation in Maharashtra goes, there seems to be very little give and take at the moment. Wouldn't you agree?
See, whatever is happening, a lot of it happens under wraps. Vinod Tavdeji today has made it very clear that we want the Sena to be part of the government. When the senior leaders of the NDA, especially Rajnath Singh ji and I think Nadda ji will go there on Monday or Tuesday. I think you all are now saying Tuesday. I'm sure there will be talks and everything as the press claims that there is no meeting ground between the two of us.
Let's get the Sena view in on this as well.
We did fight the election separately, but we're still in the same basket and we will form the government together.
Uttam Agarwal of the Sena also very patiently listening to all of this. Do you think, sir, that the Sena for its part, by all 21 MPs showing up at the NDA, at the Prime Minister's Tea Party today, at least has indicated a certain gesture of faith? Do you believe that the BJP is continuing to take rather a tough position vis-a-vis you? You still haven't heard from them as far as any solid word on government formation is concerned in Maharashtra.
Are you asking me, Ankita?
Yes, sir. Yes.
No, but I am not able to hear your question properly.
Sir, I'm asking you, are Sena MPs now on the defensive? All your MPs today came to the Prime Minister's Tea Party. But as far as Maharashtra government formation goes, where do you stand vis-a-vis the BJP?
No, as far as the formation of the government is concerned of the Maharashtra, right? Still there is a confusion between the BJP itself. In our party Shiv Sena, we have our party president Uddhav Thackeray ji. But here so many people are there. Today I was just watching the TV where Mr. Senior Leader Vinod Tavde ji is saying that they should take the support of the Shiv Sena. Somebody said that without them we will go for formation. So what is my thinking process, that let the first party leader decide from BJP, right, that how they have to talk to the Shiv Sena leader and what exactly their proposal they should come back to the Shiv Sena. And let me tell you that we BJP and Shiv Sena have not only the alliance, relationship of last 25 years. If there is some different type of alliance, I can understand. There will be a confusion, there will be a lot of condition and all. We have worked together for last 25 years and still we have our alliance with the BJP in the Municipal Corporation of Mumbai as well as the cabinet also. So today in the formation of the government of Maharashtra,
right,
only the senior leader from BJP and our Honorable President of Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray, can tell.
Okay, fair point. And the Sena has been saying precisely that every time they've been asked this question. But Siddharth Rajan, very quickly, is there a certain schizophrenia involved in the Sena saying that yes, at the centre the coalition seems to be working fine, but as far as Maharashtra is concerned, Uddhav Thackeray will take a decision, or we don't know what's going on anymore. Why this complete sort of bifurcation really in the way the coalition seems to be working at the centre, but completely not in the state?
Look, it's very clear that the way the Maharashtra election results turned out, the BJP and the Shiv Sena have a certain amount of leverage over each other, but they're still working out the precise extent of that. The BJP has the cushion of the NCB's offer of support, but the BJP cannot even decide in a clear-cut manner, at least hasn't done so far, who its chief minister will be, what its strategy is going to be in terms of an alliance, and the Shiv Sena is milking the opportunity for the maximum that it can get. I have no doubt that when the dust settles, you will have an alliance government in Maharashtra. Right. It's logical, it makes political sense, and it will benefit both the BJP and the Shiv Sena. But that process is likely to be painful. for the BJP. I don't think the BJP will be able to drive home, will be able to extract all the concessions it wants from the Shiv Sena. And I think the Shiv Sena will start out asking for a lot, but at the end of the day, there will be a settlement which the Shiv Sena will be comfortable with. And
but only after a painful and protracted process.
Is likely to be painful.
Painful and protracted process.
No, but the BJP itself can't decide who its CM. You have senior BJP leaders talking in contrary voices.
Contrarian voices. All right. I'm afraid we are going to have to let it go there. We're completely out of time. Thanks very much indeed.